A single leg balance is a great way to determine whether your client is ready to progress to more functional exercises. The wall slide exercise is a great way to determine whether you are tight in your thoracic spine. Sit against a wall and reach your arms as high over your head as you can while touching the wall. A body weight squat with arms locked overhead is a good assessment tool to determine whether lats, calves, or thoracic spine muscles are tight. Multi-directional lunges challenge balance in a different way. Always make sure to push through the heel on the leg that is leading and make sure to keep the knee over the ankle. The prone glute activation challenge is utilized to see whether the glute muscles are firing at the correct time. You should see the glute fire before the hamstring when lifting the leg. For a modified wall push-up, have the patient lower their body until their chest or nose almost touches the wall, keeping their body straight. Wherever your client is able to do the push-up, whether on a chair, coffee table, counter, kneeling on the floor, or standard push-up, it is important to make sure they stay in the plank position and keep their core activated at all times. The medicine ball chest pass is a great way to work on balance and stability, particularly with older participants. For low shelf, high shelf, it is important to keep core muscles engaged and back straight as you lift the ball. Seated row with resistance band, it is important to squeeze your shoulder blades, pull your elbows behind you, and aim your thumbs towards your armpits while keeping your back straight. For a standing row with a band, it is more important to keep the back in a neutral and safe position. For the drag exercise, it is critical that the core stays engaged and the back stays in its natural, neutral position. For the single leg deadlift, the object is to try to get your leg in line with your body, using it as a lever while keeping your back in line with your leg. When doing the swing exercise, it is important to keep the back up straight and move from the hips, keeping your heels firmly planted on the ground. The squat, lift, and reach exercise is a great way to teach participants how to safely lift objects at home. It is important to keep the back flat and push through the heels. The suitcase or farmer's carry can teach participants how to safely carry grocery bags and other household objects without hurting their back. It is important to keep the shoulder blades retracted and head held high as you walk across the floor. For the tandem stance balance, it is important that the participant is toe to heel and the feet are lined up, not staggered. Once the participant is proficient at the tandem stance balance, you can add external resistance to further challenge them. Adding a resistance band to the tandem stance will create a much more significant challenge to the participant's balance. This is an advanced exercise. For the backward slider lunge, it is important to keep pressure on the front heel and not allow the knee to go past the toe. Add a reach for a more significant challenge. Squat to row with a resistance band. It is important to keep the back in a neutral position and squeeze the shoulder blades as the participant stands. For a further challenge, you can introduce unstable surfaces once the client is proficient at doing this exercise on the floor. Once proficient with a 2-arm squat to row, progress to a unilateral squat to row, which will greater challenge the core muscles. The wood chop or low shelf, high shelf exercise can also be done with a resistance band. It is important to keep the back straight, core activated, and arms locked. For the static lunge with 2-arm row, it is important to keep the front heel planted on the ground and the knee directly over the ankle while squeezing the shoulder blades, pulling elbows behind your body. Unilateral row in a split squat position will further challenge the core muscles. Place the band under the opposite foot as the arm that you're going to row with. Once the participant is proficient at this exercise, you can add instability to the front foot, greater increasing the challenge. For the bobbing bird exercise, try to elongate the body and leg as far as possible, keeping them in line with the spine as you reach the ball forward. Try to keep the weight on the heel of your balancing leg. For the partner ab rotation, lean back, keep elbows locked, core muscles engaged, let the eyes follow the hands. The chop and lift can also be done in a seated position. It is important again to keep elbows locked, let the eyes follow the hands, keep the core muscles engaged, twisting at the torso. Kneeling chop and lift, rotate the torso, allow the eyes to follow the hands, keeping the elbows locked. You can do a tandem kneeling chop and lift as well. Try to keep your foot in line with the knee that's on the floor. Figure 4 single leg glute bridge. Cross one leg over the other, push through the heel, and lift your hips off the ground. When the participant is proficient with a single leg glute bridge, you can add instability to the shoulders or the foot. Supine clamshell exercise with band. Keep hips firmly placed on the ground while moving one leg away from the body. Side lying clamshell. Keep hips stacked, feet together as you lift one knee away from the body. Side lying hip abduction. Keep hips stacked as you lift one leg completely away from the body. Lift top leg and then bottom leg to join it, lowering both together at the same time. Double leg lift, keep hips stacked and lift both legs towards the sky. Kneeling side bridge, keep hips stacked on top of each other, shoulders stacked on top of each other. For the plank exercise, it is important to keep the back, hips, and head in alignment. A good way to let the person know what they're doing is place a foam roller on their back. When the participant is proficient with a regular plank, you can encourage them to try alternate arm lifts, alternate leg lifts, or lifting opposite arm and leg at the same time. For an advanced challenge, the side bridge can be done on an unstable surface with the elbow. It's important that the participant is able to maintain proper spine, hip, and shoulder alignment. Lateral weight shift to an unstable surface. It is important to put pressure on the heel of both legs, keep the core engaged, and facing forward. With a lateral step up to balance, it is important to keep pressure on the heel of the balancing foot and try to keep the body straight. Adding an overhead reach is a more significant challenge. Make sure the participant can do the step alone first. Step up to balance with a diagonal reach is a very advanced exercise. It is important to activate the shoulder blade and that the participant can reach straight over their head. For the lateral lunge with slider and chest press, it is important to keep toes facing forward and pressure through both heels, spine in a neutral position. Adding a diagonal resistance can be a further balance challenge. For the prone swimmer exercise, keep shoulder blades, glutes, and lower back muscles active at all times as you reach through the range of motion. For the opposite hand toe touch exercise, it is important to squat down at the knee, not just hinge at the hip as you reach for your opposite foot. For the partner walking lunge with torsional challenge, it is important to keep elbows locked, look straight ahead, and keep core muscles engaged. Alternate leg lower with band resistance. Keep shoulder blades squeezed, hands at sides. Only one leg is lowered at a time and brought back up before the other begins to lower down. Partner band row in plank position. Try to keep the body as square as possible. Paper plate mountain climbers. Keep the back in a neutral position, head in line with the spine. For the paper plate slider plank, it is important to keep as much pressure on the plate as possible, not the hand that's on the floor. The kneeling paper plate plank is a good way to start off a participant who is not strong enough to do it in the full plank position. For the Heisman lunge, reach back with one leg and then rotate to the same side as the leg that is moving. Partner hamstring lower is a very advanced exercise. Have one partner hold the heels as the other slowly lowers themselves to an object where they can catch their weight. Side lunge with knee thrust. Put the weight on the heels of both legs, lunge sideways, and then try to come to a balanced stance. The T, I, W, and Y can be done with or without resistance. It is important that the participant is able to squeeze their shoulder blades and move through the full range of motion before adding resistance. Lateral hop with single leg balance and external resistance. It is important that the participant is able to do this without resistance before adding a band around their waist. Partner squat and overhead reach with band. Keep spine in a neutral position, weight through heels, arms locked as you reach overhead. Squat with overhead press and band. It is important to keep the spine in a neutral position, reaching the arms as far overhead as possible.